Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hanging out with these nerds.
Nate the Nerdarch.
Nerdarchy is Ted.
Hey guys, I know we're not playing an MMO, but we're going to show you how to build a DPS with Dungeons and Dragons.
Hey guys, jump down to the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
Alright, so we're going back and digging into another character build. This time we're going to work out some DPS. Although it's more like DPA, but you know, what are you going to do?
So there's a number of different things that can factor into dealing damage, but we're looking at making the hardest hitting character, you know, right out of the gate.
And consistently too, not really relying so much on conditions.
Right. Now, if you look at conditions and you want to, oh, well, I'm going to go rogue assassin. I've got, 10 die 6 sneak attack. And if I can get ample, proper situations, I can, obliterate this thing
And
with
get that
my crit.
And get that first crit off.
Right. This requires you to have the surprise, requires you them to not have acted, and all the other things. And that works out really great.
And you do a lot of damage.
Right.
But we have some other things that we're looking at. And, if it's more than one shot and it's a protracted battle, we're going to hit hard consistently over and over again.
Right.
Yeah, regardless of condition. You could just be like, someone's attacking you, pick up your sword, and bam.
What do we have to look at here, gentlemen?
Well, first thing we went and said, well, who's the hardest hitter if we're taking out the rogue?
So everyone, well, lots of people, I should say, believe that the Paladin is the hardest hitting class within 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. So we should start there.
I agree.
That sounds like a good place.
So what are we looking to get out of Paladin as our core?
Well, everyone knows they can smite.
Mm-hmm.
And they can sacrifice spell levels to do that. But they can also cast their cast spells that do a smiting effect.
So Paladin's Smite caps out at 5 die 8, which honestly means we only need 4th level spell slots. So anything beyond that is just kind of, well, what are we doing with it?
Right, icing on the cake, if you would.
Right.
Icing on the smite. So from Paladin, like you said, we get smite. We're going to get a fighting style, which is going to factor in. We get access to smite spells, which is another thing, and we're going to get some spell levels from it. But we don't have enough spell levels, with Paladin, unless we go up pretty high.
You'd have to go, what was it, 13th level to be able to actually get to our single 4th level spell slot. I'm certain there's better use of our levels if we're looking at just pouring on extra damage.
So what level do you think we should go to in Paladin?
Well, if we went to 5th level, we'd be able to get that extra attack and have access to a couple of spells, or a couple levels worth of spells to play with.
Okay, so from Paladin, we're saying we're going to get 5 die 8, and we're also going to have access to smite spells, but we're not high enough level yet to really do everything we want to do.
Okay.
So how do we get those? How do we get our spell levels up so that we can cast those higher level spells to really smite hard?
Well, we could go with any of the spellcasters that's full spellcasters, and I would suggest Cleric.
And if we went with Cleric, particularly War Cleric, we've got a thing that's geared towards fighting and maybe not so much getting extra damage, but there is a number of things that do add to it. And if we take it to 8th level, we do get that once around ability of adding an extra D8.
Of the type of damage we do.
Right.
So right there, we've got another D8. We're going to
8 levels of spells.
8 level spells. So we definitely have 4th level spells now. So we're 5d8. We've got at least 6d8 on the table that we can play with at this point, between the cleric special ability, between smiting, and we're also a 10th level caster. So what is that? Is that 5th level spells?
Yes, it is.
So we can even go beyond. So with that, we should drop back to Paladin again and the Paladin spell list, because we can take Branding Smite, which is a 2nd level spell.
Yep.
It adds 2d6 of damage, but it's pumpable. So every level you add of Branding Smite adds a d6 to the damage.
And since it's not restricted like the regular smiting damage is, you can take that all the way up to...
Right now, we have a 5th level slot to use. So, that will give us, what is that, 5d6?
Mm-hmm.
That'll give us 5d6, and we are also at 6d8.
Nice. Well, what if we went into, we're talking about hitting harder. Rangers, if you go Colossus Slayer, that gets you, or go with Hunter to take Colossus Slayer, once a round that's going to allow you to do another D8.
As long as they're injured.
As long as they're injured.
So there is a little bit of a prereq. So you might have to smack them once before you really smack them. But that extra D8 is going to that's going to bump up our D8. So we were at 6, now we're at 7 D8, and we're at 5d6. We haven't even figured in the weapon damage yet.
No, and Ranger will also add spell levels if we take them, even amounts of levels.
So that's actually going to get us bumped up to a 6th-level spell slot.
Yes.
Oh, so now we have another d6 to play with if we use that higher slot. So that's 6d6 and 7d8. Is that where we're at? That's a lot of dice.
Plus, if we fight with a greatsword, that'll go up to 8d6.
Yeah, so 8d6, 7d8, and again, we can reroll those 1s and 2s if we take Great Weapon Fighter. Even better. But wait, there's more.
So looks like if our math is correct, we've got about 3 levels left to play with. What if we went Battle Master?
I'm loving the Battle Master. Extra D8s that you can use anytime. Action Surge that you can use once per short rest. Those D8s come back on a short rest too, making them even better. I mean, we only get 4 of them, but we can use one of them to make that 8d8 as well as 8d6. So that's hitting pretty freaking hard.
Yeah,
that is indeed.
And we'll also get an extra bonus effect added to that as well as with the damage.
Yeah, whether it's conditional tripping or whatever, goading, something that's going to do more damage and make them do something. So that's all excellent. That's all great. But I think there's more too. We still have to look at feats.
So first and foremost, if we're fighting with a greatsword, if we go with Great Weapon Master, that's going to pair nicely with the War Cleric's Channel Divinity ability. So you would be able to, I'm going to take a -5 to hit to do a +10 to damage, which, if we're looking at hitting hard, that's a great way to do it. But if I channel Divinity on my attack, I can get a +10 to hit. So I'm actually getting a +5 to hit and a +10 to damage.
So you're going to get a +10 to damage. Let's face it, we're going 20 levels. We're going to max out strength. We have a 20 strength. That's a +15 to damage.
Plus 16 dice.
Plus 16 dice. That's a lot of dice. Now, with this build, there's a little bit of a problem because you have diminishing returns every round. You take away like 2 dice, I believe, and until you kind of run out of those 5th and 6th level spell slots. But in the meantime, if you ever get to the point where you run out of spell slots and it's not dead yet, I don't think damage is the answer to your problem.
Well, the first 3 hits that you're doing, you're using a 6th and a 4th, 2 5ths and 2 4ths. Those hit hard and should hopefully convince what you're fighting to not fight you anymore.
Or die. It should convince it to die.
And should that not work after those first 3 rounds,
yes.
Then you drop off most of your D6s because you're not brandishing smite anymore, and you're down to smiting with 3rd level spell slots.
But on the plus side,
I wanted to clarify because you said rounds and hits, so it's the first strike on every round. You can add all these dice.
Yes.
But you can smite with your paladin ability on the secondary attack that you get as a paladin and the bonus attack that you get as a war cleric. So you can really burn through all of your spells pretty quick.
Well, not only that, and you can also use either Hex or Hunter's Mark as well to garner another die 6 per attack. Now that one's pretty nice.
Having access to both Ranger and Paladin of Vengeance, you would get both of those spells as options, and those things are going to last. So
now the other honorable mentions are Savage Attacker if you just want to reroll bigger dice pools.
Yep.
Which is huge. Also, if you want to take Martial Adept, that'll give you some more maneuvers to play with and another die to play with. Not bad as well. And considering, that comes back every short rest, I think it's a pretty good investment.
Absolutely.
Now, we also had discussed honorable mention as well as kind of another build that would work with, again, using the Paladin. And this time we're going to use the Rogue.
So if we go Paladin Rogue, you could really maximize your rogue abilities here, getting that sneak attack off. And if you actually went Arcane Trickster as opposed to assassin, you'd wind up getting extra spell slots that would combine with paladin, so that you'd have access to more smiting abilities. So if you did like a 17-3 of a split, you can get some pretty nice damage dice there for a little while.
And then also you would take the duelist style, you'd fight with a rapier. You definitely would have to change some things up, but it would still be pretty effective. You would get a lot of use out of those 2 levels of paladin. And also with this build, there is something you can do that's a little bit cheesy. It actually works for both. Mm-hmm. If you want to get advantage on all your attacks, you could basically either use Find Familiar or Find Steed, and you can have your steed or your familiar use the help action in order to assist you while you're in combat, making sure you get advantage on all your attacks.
Indeed.
Although anything that's going to be able to withstand this amount of damage, they're probably going to chew those things up and spit them out relatively quick, especially if you're annoying your DM with them.
And for that, you can always use your Valve Enmity ability that gains you advantage against the target.
But that is going to use your bonus action, which means if you're doing that, you're not going to be able to cast Brandishing Smite or Branding Smite.
So that kind of diminishes first round, but gives you a lot more access. Oh, well, if you're interested in getting that sneak attack in, and they mash your familiar the first round, you can always jumpstart the advantage attacks by doing that.
Yeah, with this build, you're never going to be lacking for something to do with your bonus action. You're going to be able to play out plenty of damage. This, if we're speaking in MMO terms, this was probably one of the ultimate DPSs. Mm-hmm. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, assassin, 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 but literally that's once a fight. If you can get it off. Some monsters you can't even get it off on. They're not going to be surprised. Maybe they're really good in initiative. This is pretty consistent as far as you're going to be able to do this.
Because this does not rely on, you going first and you going before them.
Circumstances.
It's a lot of conditional with the assassin.
Literally, the Paladin Ranger Cleric fighter literally just relies on a single D8 that they've already been hurt.
Yeah, and it's very self-contained, and then you have ways to kind of cheese with your friends if you want. If you want not attacks of opportunity. If you want advantage on your attack rolls.
And I found a little thing for Battlemaster. If you choose the requisite, you can get. It's conditional, but if they attack you, you can attack them back and still get that D8 damage, and it's another opportunity to slam them with abilities.
And that's using your reaction.
Yes, and that uses your reaction, which isn't used pretty much with this build, except, that's the only time to use it.
That could literally be, you could literally be smiting someone 4 times in a round.
Did I say you could touch me?
I mean, if you're using your bonus action to attack from War Cleric, if you're using your 2 attacks, and then you use your reaction, that is a lot of smite damage.
That is indeed.
I don't know if we had any smites left at that point that we're falling back to using our bonus action for an attack.
You're probably using your second and third levels, at that point in time.
But it's still a lot of smites. Again, like we said, if it's still around, you've got bigger fish to fry. Yeah, so there is this combination will give you a plethora of choices. But the question is, how would you build a DPS in your game? Let us know in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
So check us out over on nerdarchy.com.
Or you can support us over on Patreon.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.
Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hanging out with these nerds.
Nate the Nerdarch.
Nerdarch is Ted.
Hey guys, I know we're not playing an MMO, but we're going to show you how to build a DPS with Dungeons and Dragons.
Hey guys, jump down to the description below where you can I can get ample, proper situations. I can, obliterate this thing
and
with my crit.
And get that first crit off.
Right. This requires you to have the surprise, requires them to not have acted, and all the other things. And that works out really great.
And you do a lot of damage.
Up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
All right, so we're going back and digging into another character build. This time we're going to work out some DPS. Although it's more like DPA, but what are you going to do?
So there's a number of different things that can factor into dealing damage, but we're looking at...
Right. But we have some other things that we're looking at. And, if it's more than one shot and it's a protracted battle, we're gonna hit hard consistently over and over again.
Right.
Yeah, regardless of condition, you could just be like, someone's attacking you, pick up your sword, and bam.
What do we have to look at here, gentlemen? At making the hardest hitting character, right out of the gate.
And consistently too, not really relying so much on conditions.
Right. Now, if you look at conditions and you want to, oh, well, I'm going to go rogue assassin. I've got, 10 die 6 sneak attack. And if